We're going to have a look at virus diseases of dahlias and how to diagnose them. So here out on the plot we have got one dahlia which has got viral disease, and I'm just going to take you through some normal dahlias as we go, and if you can keep an eye out for what you think might look like an unhealthy plant, and then we'll come back to looking at it in detail and see if we can get some ways of diagnosing viral disease in dahlias, because they're important. They're important because not only will they damage your plant, but they will often spread to other plants, other dahlias, and damage your stock. So there's no cure for viral disease, and the only measure you've got is to remove the plant and to destroy it. So we've been past the diseased plants twice now. These plants are normal, so we can see that they've got leaves which are nice and uniform in colour, green. We've got flower heads, and overall the plant, just from a distance, looks healthy. And if we move on now to the plants next door, and these show the features of viral diseases. So hopefully you can see a number of features already. These plants are diseased. This plant alongside it is normal. So we'll look at the features of the disease. What we have here is mottling on the leaves. So the leaves are pale, but in a particular way. They're mottled. So some parts of the leaves are normal green, other parts of the leaves are yellowing. And it's the pattern of that yellowing, the pattern of that variation in colour, which gives the game away for the virus. Lots of diseases have different effects on leaves. Often it is difficult to be sure you've got a virus. The leaf pattern can mimic mineral deficiencies, diseases caused by other agents such as thrips, such as fungal disease, such as aphids, and various other things that can affect your plants. But in order to diagnose a virus, first of all, look at the plant from a distance and see whether it appears to be healthy or unhealthy. And we've got, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4 plants in here. They're all one particular variety. They're all wine-eyed Jill, and all 4 of them are diseased, and we can look at the features of that. The leaves are pale and mottled, like we said. The plant is stunted, so if you can see, the healthy plant alongside is much taller. It's productive, there are blooms growing. And on our unhealthy plant here, the plant itself is smaller. Now that depends on variety, of course, but I can tell you this plant, when it's got its virus, began to become stunted in growth. So the internode, the distance between the 2 nodes, that is between the 2 leaves on a stem, is shortened. That's called the internode distance, and will give rise to the overall height of the plant. And in viral disease, that's often shortened. So we've got a stunted plant. The leaves look mottled. They're mottled in a uniform way. In other words, each and every leaf that's diseased tends to have the same pattern on it, and they can be actually patterned. So sometimes you might see what looks like a target with darker green in the middle and then paler on the outside, and then back to normal on the rest of the leaf. So that's a particular giveaway for a viral disease. Is if there's a pattern, a repeating pattern on the leaves. So this is unhealthy. We've got pale leaves. The flowers are not doing well. So a tiny little bud there in what is a variety that should give us quite a large bloom head. There's another feature here. I don't know if you can see it there, but we've actually got some aphids present on that flower bud, little black flies. So aphids often take advantage of a plant that's in a poor condition anyway. Right alongside it, the healthy plants here have got no sign of aphids at all. So sometimes chicken and egg, because aphids can be a vector for viral disease. In other words, they can bring a viral disease into a plant. Lots of sucking insects do just that. But in this case, I'm confident that the aphids weren't there when the disease took over. It's been present now for over a month, this virus, and I've sort of watched it in the interest of science. But I'm going to have to dig these plants out now and destroy them completely, because they will carry the virus. Every part of the plant will carry the virus, particularly the tuber. I'll remove a leaf and we'll have a closer look at the pattern of change on the leaf. So I've removed this leaf and we're going to have a close look at it. Hopefully we can zoom in here and have a look at the actual pattern on the leaf and why that indicates there's a viral disease there and not something else. So we have a mottling which is apparent in what looks almost like a pattern. So the one right in the middle now of the picture is almost target-like. So we've got a ring-like structure to the changes in colour, with a central part which is pale, and then we've got a more browner area around, let's say, the middle of the target, if we're viewing it as a target, and then on the outside of the target we've got a paler area before it changes back to almost normal dark green. So you could say that particular lesion, that particular change in colour is target-like. And if we move down, there's another one there which has got a same sort of appearance and is uniform throughout the whole of the leaf. In other words, it's the whole of the leaf that's affected by this, particularly in particularly in mineral deficiencies. You often find that a particular portion of the leaf is affected, just the tips, just the edges. And if we turn the leaf over, we can see that the lesions are predominantly on the upper surface of the leaf, aren't they? We've got a little bit of necrosis, that's damage to the tissues, which is causing death to those lesions that we can see. But there are fewer. You'd look at that and say, well, there are fewer there than there are on the other side. So it's the top surface that's affected mainly. Every virus is different, and it's the overall pattern. It's the fact that it is in a pattern, the fact that it affects every leaf, in brackets every leaf that's affected, in a uniform way. So you look at the whole of the plant and you say, oh gosh, every leaf has got that, whatever it is. That's the way viruses tend to behave. Now this is infected material. The virus that's present is shedding onto, for instance, my fingers, onto anything it touches, so that it's important, if you are dealing with what you think may be a virus, to take precautions so that the virus doesn't spread. We all know from our COVID experience how important it is for general hygiene type measures, in other words washing hands, washing instruments or things that have come in contact with anything that may actually carry a virus on its surface. So if you're using tools, for instance if you're using secateurs or snips to deal with your virus laden plant, for instance if you're cutting flowers from it, then you must be very careful to sterilize the instrument before you move on to another plant, otherwise there's danger that you'll carry the virus from one plant to another. I've been, inverted commas, lucky here somewhat, because I've known this plant's had a virus and I've not dug it out immediately, which would be the usual thing to do, but I've watched it to see how it's behaving. In fact, it started on one plant, one of these wine-eyed gills, and then has spread to the other four, in the immediate vicinity. But right alongside it here, we've got a different variety. This is Preference Dahlia, which is not affected, so I've sort of got away with it, so to speak, in as much as the virus hasn't transmitted off into other varieties. This way, alongside, we've got Oreti Bliss, again, which is a nice healthy plant. So the job now is to remove these unhealthy plants, get as much of the tissue out of the ground as possible. So that's take the whole of the tuber, try and do it as cleanly as possible, and then get rid of the tuber, not compost it because the virus is in there. So you either burn the tuber or else get rid in general waste, not green waste, not waste which will be processed by your recycling department. So there we are, that's our diseased, viral diseased plant. Last feature I didn't mention was curling of the leaves. So in this particular case these leaves are curling, dying. So hopefully you found that useful. I hope you don't have too many viruses, but viral disease in dahlias is in fact very common. It's probably the commonest of the serious diseases of dahlias. So if you're growing dahlias for any length of time, you'll almost certainly come across a virus. And as soon as you do, make your diagnosis and then remove the plant straight away. Hope you found that helpful, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.